Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, Raul Infante with Taking Dish Sports, here with my co-host, Hugo Dominguez.
How's it going, Raul? What's up, guys? Thanks for watching.
Good. So, hey, don't forget, we're not only the guys that watch these sports, we analyze them. So tonight, we're going to be covering UFC Fight Night 148. So we're going to start off with a couple fights. One fight that caught my eye in the prelim, and that was the Alexis Davis versus Jennifer Maia fight. Jennifer Maia came in to fight Alexis Davis, the number 5 fighter in her division. Jennifer Maia went there to show that she is a proven fighter from a different, company. Came in, and I actually thought that she was going to be able to finish Alexis Davis in the first round. However, Alexis Davis showed why she's a veteran in the sport and why she's still capable of being in the UFC, came back and fought, and made it real difficult for Jennifer Maia. But Jennifer Maia ended up being the better fighter that night and ended up pulling the decision. So I really liked her performance yesterday. Was there any fights that caught your eye yesterday?
Yeah. I like the Bryce Mitchell fight in the prelims. It was actually the last fight in the prelims. Bryce Mitchell was very impressive this fight. Actually, a good fight from both fighters. Bryce Mitchell was caught in that Darce choke, and Mafet, his Darce choke is nasty. I thought Bryce Mitchell was going to go out, but he fought through that choke, went through the rest of the fight. Very impressive performance, a lot of submission attempts. Great performance by him. Great fight in the prelims there by Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, I was also impressed by Mitchell's striking as well.
Yeah.
He hurt Mofflet a few times, but Mofflet was tough. Bobby came out there and also showed up. I thought it was an extremely close fight. It could have been a draw. So that covers that for the prelims. We're going to move on to the main card. First fight that I want to cover is Macy Barber versus J.J. Aldridge. Go ahead and start off with that.
Yeah, Macy Barber, very impressive young fighter. She's only 20 years old. She's saying she wants to break John Jones' record and become the youngest UFC champion of all time. And she's on her way, guys. Great performance by her last night. She's actually, getting dominated in the first round, makes a game plan change in between rounds, changes her stance, and we see a whole different fighter in the second round. And she was also more aggressive in the second round, moving forward more. Very impressive striking, impressive performance by, say it again, a 20-year-old in the UFC. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. And also Dana White in his sit-down last stated that he loves Barber's energy. Barber's always texting him or calling him to look for better opportunities to get that title shot. So I was extremely impressed by her striking, just like you said. I thought Aldridge was going to give her a more challenging fight. Mm-hmm. It was, like you stated, in that first round. However, she did turn it around with the striking in the second round and was able to get that TKO. I was extremely impressed by her. So we're gonna.
She's got power in her hands. That's all right. She's got power in her hands, and I'm excited to see what she's got moving forward.
You and everybody else, right? So we're gonna move on to Luis Pena versus Steven Peterson. Go ahead, Juice, and cover that fight.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Luis, the violent Bob Ross Pena. I've been a fan of him since we first saw him in the Tough season. Good fight by him last night, but he did miss weight. Is he really a featherweight? I mean, the guy's 6'3". We got to see going forward. I mean, if he can make the weight at featherweight, we saw last night he can be dominant there. It could be a good career move for him. But if it's going to be a tough weight cut, we all know what that could do for fighters. You can get knocked out easily. But moving on to the fight, great performance by him. He's kind of got an unorthodox. DC was mentioning it, and he goes to, Luis Pena goes to AKA, so DC knows him well. He was mentioning his takedown defense is very, very unorthodox. Instead of sprawling, stuff in the head like wrestlers usually do, or even jiu-jitsu guys, he's more reaching over, going for switches. You saw a couple times he had some nasty Kimuras to stop the takedowns, and even some great unorthodox defense by Luis Pena in the grappling. Did you notice that last night as well?
Yeah, I did. A couple things that I noticed from Pena was obviously he used his height to his advantage. There was a lot of times where Peterson was trying to transition, but those taller fighters make it extremely difficult to even get something like a heel hook. Pena was able to, twist away and then end up on top.
Yeah, and striking while standing up from on top. Not a lot of guys can do that.
Right. One thing that I was impressed of by Pena was that he stuck to the game plan. A lot of times was, what a lot of people predicted was that he was going to try to use the ground game as an advantage, but he stated that they were just going to try to utilize the striking, especially how you said he has that height. He's the tallest person in that division, so he's able to use that length to his advantage. Peterson had a difficult time actually getting on the inside and was getting popped from the outside. One thing that I would have liked Pena to use more was those head kicks. I know that he used it once or twice, and there was one time where Peterson got off that 4-point stand. As soon as he got up, Pena was able to clip him with one of those head kicks. I believe it was in the third round. But outside of that, he was mainly just using his hand strikes. But again, if he used the head kicks a little more, it could have changed the outcome of the fight. You never know. Peterson is well rounded. He could have blocked.
Peterson he weathered quite the storm in that fight. I thought he could have been finished on multiple occasions. Even that head kick you're talking about could have knocked anybody out. Tough performance by Peterson, but dominant, very technical performance by Luis Pena. A great fight by him.
So what do you think he should do next? Should he stay in that division and maybe be a little bit more disciplined, get those 2 pounds off, or should he move up?
Just looking at his body and stuff, I would say move up to lightweight. He's 6'3". I don't know that he's got the frame to be a featherweight, but given his performance last night, and I think what you're about to say, and how deadly that lightweight division is, there's a lot of killers up there. I don't know if I would want to be there.
Stacked. That's why Pena ended up saying that he thinks it's the best move for him to move down because it's the most beneficial for his career. So, if that's what he truly wants to do, then he has to have that discipline, how we stated, and get those pounds off because, nobody wants to watch a fighter that has an advantage there. So, we're gonna go ahead and actually move on to the Formiga versus Figueiredo fight.
Yeah, Formiga had a dominant performance last night. Figueiredo, he got his shots in, but you can't win fights at this level with just power shots. Formiga used his grappling, his jiu-jitsu to dominate all 3 rounds. Figueiredo was 15-0 before this fight, and Formiga still performed, which I thought, with the big news we're seeing coming out in the UFC, I thought this was a performance that is going to bring Formiga into #1 contendership in the flyweight division. There's big news up at 135, so Cejudo's not going to be fighting TJ Dillashaw anymore. Let's talk about that news. TJ Dillashaw getting flagged by USADA. Like, comment, subscribe, guys. Show love.
And don't forget to hit that bell button for more notifications. So, speaking of news, I'm going to let you go ahead and actually bring up some news now that we covered the Formiga versus Figueiredo fight, because obviously that fight had some importance because of some news that you're going to be talking about now. Go ahead and start off.
Yeah, so as we all saw, TJ Dillashaw was flagged by USADA. We don't know the substance yet. He's been suspended for a year by the New York State Athletic Commission, and he's already released a statement and relinquished his own title while he deals with his USADA proceedings. So I thought, Formiga said after his fight, what more do I have to do to get Cejudo? I thought Formiga's fight was basically a #1 contender fight because we found out this news, before the fight even started. But it seems like Dana White has other plans, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really getting tired of these champs and all these. I'm sorry. What is it? Double champ?
Don't say double champ because Conor McGregor has officially copyrighted champ.
All right. So I don't like these double champ situations. It was fun at first, but now there's so many divisions that are being held up because of it. Dana White stated that his plan in the near future is going to be Moraes fighting Cejudo for that belt, and then having Benavidez versus Formiga as a backup fight in case one of those guys, go and get injured,
or miss weight, or I don't like this plan. There's plenty of 135ers that could fight for that belt. You're holding up 2 divisions by having Henry move up. It made sense when TJ was in the picture. He beat TJ. He asked for the title shot at 135 to be a double champ. But it just doesn't make sense now with TJ out. I think Cejudo should defend against Formiga. Formiga's earned it. He was already #1 contender going into this fight, and he won in a dominant fashion.
So for the bantamweight title, I actually like Moraes going out there and fighting for that title.
Yeah, and he should fight Munoz.
Right, exactly.
Who just beat Garbrandt.
Right. Maybe something has to do with him getting suspended because he's gonna get suspended for hopping the fence, which I think is ridiculous. Find a guy, let him fight. He's won his last 8 out of 9 fights. A fight versus Moraes would have definitely kept the entertainment going. But again, holding the divisions like that, I'm not too happy about that. But you know what? It is what it is. The UFC makes the decisions. They're a successful, organization. So us as fans, we the only thing that we can do is kick our feet up, unfortunately, and just continue watching.
Yeah.
So
and Benavidez versus Formiga is going to be a great fight. So I'll be happy to see that. And then Cejudo versus Moraes is also a good fight.
Right.
Just let's get these divisions cleaned up so we know who's clear-cut number one contenders and we know what's going on next in division, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. So we're going to go back to the Fight Night 148 card, and we're actually going to move on to the Curtis Blaydes versus Justin Willis fight. Wow. Go ahead, Juice.
Great, dominant performance by Curtis Blaydes. Some people might have been bored by this fight, not me. If you can't stop a guy from taking you down, taking your back, and laying on top of you, you're in the wrong sport. It's not kickboxing. Curtis Blaydes took down Willis all 3 rounds. He ends up on his back, putting all his weight on him. And Willis he didn't do much from the bottom to get out of there. He wasn't trying to get to a full guard or get out of there much. He's just kind of sitting there, letting Blaydes sit on top of him. And yeah, you could say Blaydes wasn't doing much on top, but it's the bottom guy's job to get out. You got to get out. I could hear Willis breathing hard on my soundbar. It sounded like he was sitting on the couch next to me, breathing hard and eating Cheetos. Like it was just great performance by Curtis Blaydes. Willis has got to work on his grappling for sure.
Right. There's not much that I could add on to that. The only thing that I will say is that I would love Curtis Blaydes to fight a guy like Stipe Miocic. He's fought Ngannou a few times and has come out on the wrong side of that. Stipe beat Ngannou, but you know how it goes. Styles make fights, and so I would really like Blaydes to get an opportunity to fight a man like Stipe, and Willis should fight. Who was it who was it that Junior Dos Santos just defeated?
Derek Lewis, but Derek Lewis
before Derek Lewis.
Oh,
the guy that drinks out of the shoe.
Oh, God, I can't remember.
Brain fart.
Right
Whoa, after losing against Junior Dos Santos, he actually called out Justin Willis, so that'll be a great matchup for them. Unfortunately, I can't think of the name right now. That's messing with me. But make that fight happen. So maybe there's a positive outcome for Justin Willis, in that fight. So it's not all downhill. But again, just like you said, practice on that takedown defense because that was terrible.
Yeah, and Jay, we don't know if Stipe wants to fight without. He seems like he's still trying to wait for Daniel Cormier, and if that's the case, JDS versus Blaydes would be a good fight to make as well.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. All right, so we're gonna move on to the main event of the evening, and that was Stephen Thompson against Anthony Showtime Pettis.
And we got what we wanted, folks, which was a great fight. I mean, we only got around 2 rounds out of it, but what an amazing 2 rounds. I mean, let's get right into it. So Pettis, in the beginning, Thompson's doing what we think Thompson was going to do, keeping his distance, using his karate, scoring his points, and getting out, not exchanging with Pettis. Pettis had a good strategy in the beginning to walk forward, try to cut off the cage. That's what you think you would do against Stephen Thompson. Don't give him distance. That's what he wants is distance. Right. And Pettis was trying to cut him off in the beginning, but it wasn't working out for him. He was getting tagged a lot into the second round, which we all know. We all saw last night. The Superman hook punch. Great finish by Pettis in the second round, making the adjustment. If you notice, he's moving forward in the first round and the beginning of the second. During the Superman punch, he's moving back. There's a lot that goes into this too. The leg kicks, how he basically made Stephen Thompson switch his stance throughout the fight using the leg kicks. What did you think about the fight?
I thought the leg kicks was a great strategy for Pettis there. That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Thompson is difficult to figure out in the ring, as you've seen other fighters struggle with that. Even Tyron Woodley had a difficult time, so I thought Pettis was also going to struggle with that karate style. A lot of these guys struggle with the karate style, even going back to Lyoto Machida. Mm-hmm. So, in this fight, take out his legs. That's exactly what Pettis was doing. You even saw Thompson, he had to switch his stance a few times because obviously those leg kicks were getting to him. Thompson was throwing that side kick, and every time he did, Anthony Pettis would hit him in the legs and force him to switch his stance, which makes a fighter adjust their game plan. I did have Thompson winning the first round, however, because Pettis was lacking his head movement.
Yeah, he definitely won that first round. He took it.
Exactly. He had that nosebleed going on. That's why I had Thompson winning this fight because
and he was winning the second round before he got knocked out too. I'm watching the fight going, all right, Pettis, this ain't working out. Maybe we should take him down or something. try something different. But Pettis was confident in his game and was able to pull off that strike. Great performance by him. That Superman punch, like you said, Thompson was doing the side kicks. If you see, right before the Superman punch, he pushes the side kick to the side, and he gets the right hook, the Superman right hook. Before that, he actually countered a couple kicks with right hooks, but he missed them. So adding the jumping from the Superman punch allowed him to close that distance and get the knockout.
So what's next for Anthony Pettis? Who do you want to see him fight in his new division?
Yeah, so he called out RDA. He wants a rematch from RDA. He lost to him at lightweight. I think this is a good fight. I'd like to see it again. Both these guys up a weight class, maybe at their true fighting weight class. Pettis said he felt more powerful at welterweight, so obviously RDA is going to feel the same way, more powerful. That'd be a great fight to watch.
Yeah, I say give it to him. He went out there and he performed at a high level, knocked out a guy in the top 5 in the welterweight division. If he wants his rematch, give him his rematch. RDA is not doing too well in the welterweight division. I don't think it's transitioning as well as he would like it to. So and I feel like he's on a downfall, especially after getting beat up in his last fight and in the fight before that. So get that rematch going. As for Stephen Thompson, I would really like for you to take some time off. You've lost how many fights in a row? 4 fights in a row, right? Now.
Woodley, Till, and now Pettis. So
right. So maybe just taking some time off, resetting, see where this division goes. The division's on fire right now. All these guys are gonna be knocking each other's heads off. There's gonna be a lot of changes in the rankings, including him. There's a lot of guys. Even see Leon Edwards coming in. Masvidal just bullies his way into the top 10 again. So just sit around, see what happens. And what's most beneficial for you, because a lot of these guys have power in that division. You're getting knocked out by a guy that moved up from 155.
That division is very entertaining right now. I finally want to see Covington get his head knocked off. I'm sure we all do. We'll have Usman versus Covington, and then we can have Masvidal versus Edwards. They've already built that fight. And then Pettis versus RDA. These are all great fights I'd love to see.
Right. So that covers it for Fight Night 148. One thing that I want to do is get my prediction in for next week. Just real quick, we have a lot of predictions, but we'll do Gaethje versus Barbosa. Who do you got on that fight?
Yeah. I want to pick Gaethje. You know what? I'm going to pick Gaethje, but I'm asking you, Justin Gaethje, please wrestle. Use your wrestling. Be smart. Fight technical. We all love to watch a slugfest, but if you fight technical, you can win this fight.
I'll take Barbosa there. I think Justin Gaethje's gas tank is terrible because he goes out and slugs it out. So I'll go ahead and take Barbosa in this fight. Hopefully he's not smart enough to use his wrestling, because that's where Barbosa struggles with guys that take him down. So that covers it there, guys. Hey, don't forget, we're not only the guys that watch these sports, we analyze them. That's another take with Taking Dish Sports. Here with your host, Raul Infante, and the co-host, Hugo Dominguez.
Have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.